Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gift of Gaming podcast. It's spooky season, and myself, Chris, and Andrew sat down to take a look at Still Wakes the Deep. What's up, everybody? It's me, your host, Darren Wade, and I'm joined by my own blood and brother, Andrew. Andrew, how are you keeping?
Not too bad, Darren. Thanks for having us on.
No problem. And of course, the console-hating, PC-playing, lore-seeking, full-time Canadian himself, Chris Robbins. Chris, welcome aboard.
What's happening?
How are you?
I'm doing all right, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, a little tired, but
Yeah,
I
me
got
too.
my big mug of coffee here, so...
We have, I feel so unprepared. There's so many technical difficulties getting this episode ready. I can't even have headphones on, so I can listen back to this being like, oh, this is just an absolute piece of shit. But we will work with what we have.
We were here before you, too.
Yeah, I know. It's so unusual. I'm usually so ready. Andrew, what have you been playing recently? Anything spooky in honor of the season?
Yeah, well, I mean, what was I playing? I started playing Resident Evil Village in VR, which was absolutely fucking terrifying. Yeah, man. Just no. I had to stop several times when playing it. It's just doesn't help that my wife sees me playing it, just decides to sneak up on me while I'm playing it and just go, "How are you?"
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a missed opportunity if you don't.
Yeah.
From a VR perspective versus, Resident Evil games are generally, me and Graham played through a lot of the duds that exist out there just for fun because they're so awful. How does Village stack up? I know it was done originally for VR.
It's obviously the first Resident Evil game I played in VR. I played a lot of the other Resident Evil games, but it's just... It's the first game, with the exception of a couple of instances where normally, like if you're... when you play VR games, your character doesn't normally lie down. Because it's very disconcerting to be standing up and your character's lying down kind of thing. But this game kind of does it every now and again, which is a bit immersion breaking. But apart from that, it's one of the only things I really felt like I've been there, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And again, like that, walking through, there's one particular scene in it where you're walking through a wooden house. You can hear something moving around the house, but it feels like you're there. And the only thing you have is a flashlight that you're shining around. Obviously, you move your hand around to shine the flashlight, and it's just... Your heart is racing.
Horror is the perfect genre for VR.
It really is. It really is. That or deciding to climb a mountain.
Oh, yeah, the Horizon, which I still need to try actually sometime because I'm such a big Horizon fan.
It's such a good game.
Chris, what about you? Any other spooky games since we played Still Wakes the Deep?
Yeah. I actually immediately went home and turned off all my lights, put on my headphones, booted up Alien Isolation.
Oh. That was our last year's spooky game. And fuck that, man.
I'll get into it during this review, but it was... that was a different experience.
It is. It's a totally different scare. Yeah. Did you actually play through the campaign or did you do that
I'm
survival?
playing through the campaign, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's little short bursts.
It has to be.
Yeah.
We, because myself, KP, and Colin this time last year did Alien Isolation, but the main campaign was good. It was spooky, but you have to wait for the big scares. And we're like, we only have a couple hours here, so... Let's go into the survival mode where it's like a challenge thing to can you get from A to B without getting caught by the alien?
It's crazy. It takes forever just to see the alien.
Yeah.
And like the whole time I'm still scared because I know this. I know he's got to be. I don't know if he's already chasing me. Like, I don't know what's happening.
You sit there with a newspaper, cup of coffee, being like, "I'm waiting for you." Like I got into Dead Space because it was free this month or whatever else. I've only gotten 2 hours in, but that's a very good game. And the remake looks unbelievable. It starts off
with a fucking banger though.
Yeah.
Are you playing the original or the remake?
No, the remake. Because the remake was given out as one of the monthly PlayStation games, I think, this month.
Last month, I think, was it, or this month?
I think it was this month because it's spooky
October.
season. It would be a smart move to do it in spooky season.
Yeah.
Love it. It's great to be playing it again because it's been such a long time since I actually played the game. Like, I played it years ago when it probably first came out.
Yeah, well, I do love it that as well. I played the first and the original to death kind of thing, but they've changed the scares. So there's one vent at the very start that you're walking up a ramp to, and the necromorph burst out of that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, grand! I've got the gun trained, then I got away from it." Nothing happened, and it appeared behind me and scared the ever-loving shit out of me. Yeah. It was like nice.
I love a good scare, man. Halloween season,
it's very good.
Yeah.
My problem with Dead Space, though, and this extends to all of these like survival horror games, is the moment they give me a gun, like I'm not scared anymore. I'm like I'm what you need to fear now.
Yeah, it becomes an action game more than a horror game kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean the jump scares will still get you, and if they do well with like the lighting and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Once I have a gun, I'm just like, I'll fucking chop off these limbs, no problem.
It's one thing I did enjoy about playing Still Wakes the Deep: a fucking screwdriver. That's it. You can't even use it as a weapon.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see if I can get a nice. Yeah, okay. I got like a synopsis here. So I guess we played Still Wakes the Deep as a little kind of review of a spooky game. We're going to review the game, so I guess there's spoilers for this point on.
Oh yeah, big time. And we'll because it was a good game, but like I have some gripes with it, especially when it comes to the ending, which I'm sure I'm going to get frustrated and shred. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Warning, listeners.
Well, I'll open up with a little quick synopsis of the game, and then I'll get maybe into the little bits and pieces. But if you haven't played Still Wakes the Deep, my advice is play the game. Or like if you're interested in playing it, play it and then come back to this episode and listen to it. I think it's what we played for just over 4 hours, 4 and a bit hours together, finished it. It's kind of
I don't know. Like, should we give a brief if we think they should play it or not?
That's a great idea.
Like, I mean, that's the whole point of listening to reviews. Yeah. Like, is this something I want to play?
So yeah, and then if they decide based on it, so I'm going to get a quick high level review from both of you guys, no spoilers, and I'll give my own then as well, and then we can get into it for real. It's a good idea, Chris, thank God you're here. And I'll start off with you. Out of 10, do you have a score for Still Wakes the Deep, and would you recommend playing it?
I would give it, I think, 7.5 out of 10. It's a very good game. It's got a lot of good jump scares. It's very atmospheric, and the graphics are top notch on it as well. For what it is, I mean, like I've played a couple of horror survival games, and graphics aren't necessarily where it's aiming for. But enjoyed the atmospherics, enjoyed the just being stuck in an oil rig in the middle of nowhere. But as Chris said, it's a very predictable ending, and it started to use the same stuff over and over quite a lot. And there's a lot of yellow.
Very samey, especially for
and there's a lot of yellow paint. Yeah, we all love yellow paint.
I turned that shit.
You turned that down when it was still low.
Could you imagine how yellow that game would have been?
Yeah, it's just everything, yellow brick road.
I think my favorite was I went up to a particular fuse box looking to turn it off, and you go, "Oh, the entire building is yellow." Like, oh fuck, it is.
Which is such a. I mean, I appreciate that that's added in, but it's gas you into the option specifically to turn off that. Let's not have yellow stuff everywhere, so we can. I mean, we're all grown.
Yeah, you couldn't turn it off. You could tone it down.
Yeah. It was on and reduced. They were the only two options for it.
Jesus Christ, could you imagine? So would you recommend people of the horror jump scare genres Still Wakes the Deep to play?
Yeah, I mean, it was a fairly, I think I paid like 24 or 25 quid for it, and it's a solid 4.5 hours, I think, playthrough of it. It's a lot of fun and it's a lot of scares, and I'd say if you're playing, like the three of us played it in a room that was at the start quite well lit, and are having a bit of a laugh playing it as well. I think if you were playing that on your own with headphones in the dark, you'd shit yourself.
It is, it's a different thing.
Yeah, okay. It's definitely a good entry into the horror genre kind of thing. So
nice. Chris?
So for the most part, I did enjoy it. I don't know if it was kind of like the way we were playing it, because we're all like huddled on the couch and just like listening to each other scream.
And like passing the controller around, being like, thank God I don't have to do this section.
I think I would give it like a 6 or a 7. It did get kind of samey, and the yellow paint stuff was kind of annoying. Although they did a good job of what was mostly like an on-rails game. It was very linear, but you didn't really notice it that much, which is good for someone like me who really hates rails. But there was like just a bit too much hand-holding, especially with the yellow paint. Yeah. My biggest gripe, I would say, is because it's €35 on Steam. It isn't worth the price. That is... Wait for that to go on like a heavy sale.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we cranked it out in the afternoon without ever playing it for like what 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of money for that.
Not worth the price. And I think that comes down to like they did an incredible job on the graphics. I think that was the main focus of making this game. So they would have had to like
get the money back somewhere.
Yeah.
For myself, I think from the horror genre, I give it a 7 to a 7.5 out of 10. I'm with you on that one, Andrew. As a game overall, it's probably a 5 to 6 out of 10. Like I'm like, this is great for the horror type thing, but if this game wasn't a scary game, it wouldn't hook me at all. Do you mean take the scare factor out of it? I'm not interested in it at all. You're right. I think Chris, as what you said, it is a linear game, but I never felt like I was being. I mean, towards the end, it gets very on rails, but I think that's the case for a lot of, even outside of horror games, it's the case for a lot of games. You have to finish it.
I think a lot, especially horror ones, it kind of just drops you into it. Every horror survival game I've ever played, it's always the case at the end is always rails. Yeah.
And I think it was, again, I think it took itself too seriously towards the end. I think, again, we'll go into spoilers later on. This is just a little, should you play or not. I think it tried to go too hard and took itself too seriously for its ending. That kind of took me out and been like, I don't really care for this ending. I don't, I'm not here for the narrative. I'm here for the spooks. Yeah. And I think there were times when there could have or should have been more spooks. The game, I think, was at its best when you're being chased. Yeah. I think there's stealth, there's stealth moments where you're trying to avoid.
Although, oh god, no, that's getting us spoiled. All right, yeah, okay, sorry.
There's different ways. I mean, the game spooks you normal, like jump scares throughout it. Then there's kind of sneak around the monster moments. I didn't find them too scary. I think I found it scary because I wasn't in control of the controller. I'm watching Andrew, you or Chris, you do stuff. I was like, what are you doing? And that was the part that kind of spooked me. But it was the chase scenes in that game that kind of was like, I don't want any part of this. This is scary. And I think it did that really, really well. So yeah, 7.5. If it was cheaper, I would 100% recommend.
Yeah. Another thing I forgot to mention, because this is another huge selling point for me specifically on the game, is it's very, very Lovecraftian. So if you're an HP Lovecraft fan, like this one gave me serious Color Out of Space vibes.
Like, there's a huge Eldritch vibe to the whole thing.
Yeah. So if you're a big fan of that, kind of like cosmic horror, Eldritch horror, there's another selling point there.
Nice. Well, what I'll do is that's kind of our kind of high-level review. I'm just going to do a quick synopsis of what the game is so people who are listening to the episode kind of know what to expect, and then we'll just hop into our spoiler review. So, Still Witness the Deep is a 2024 psychological horror video game developed by the Chinese Room and published by Secret Mode. The story follows an electrician who is trapped on a damaged oil drilling platform in the North Sea in the 1970s.
Kaz.
Yeah, having no way to escape or being pursued by mysterious monsters under harsh weather conditions. Played from a first-person perspective, the game does not feature any combat system, and players must rely on stealth and solving simple puzzles to survive. As the player continues the story, the oil rig will gradually evolve and change, so the game itself is largely linear. All right, so spoiler mode is now in session. If you don't want this game spoiled, hop off, play the game, and come back to us later. If you don't care for Still Wakes the Deep, welcome to the spoiler episode. Where to start? I think I enjoyed this game the way I did because the three of us were playing it together. That was a big part. One of my favorite moments of playing this was, Chris, obviously you were ready to be scared.
God, what was this? Are you talking about the Crawley guy?
No. Before we met any monsters.
I think is this the pipe?
Yeah. So we start off, you're on an oil rig, you're this guy Kaz, and Rennick is your boss, and your boss is an asshole, and he's calling you on the comments to be like, you need to get to my office, we've got things to discuss, blah, blah, blah. And Chris, you were the first person to take control, and you were just making your way from A to B. Like, there was no monsters, no scare. You're just checking out what the boss has to say. And as you're walking through one of the rooms, one of the pipes bursts and steam comes out. You jump so fucking high off the couch. I was like, Chris is ready to be scared.
Funny thing is, because I went home, like I said, afterwards and immediately booted up Alien Isolation, and the exact same fucking thing happens. Like when you wake up on the ship, nobody's around, you're walking around, one of the pipe bursts into flames. I screamed, man.
It's those easy scares. So I think you play as this guy Kaz, who's an electrician, and I have to say I kind of liked his background. How they started with the narrative I thought was quite good. What they gave us about Kaz was interesting. I was like, oh, so Kaz isn't he's not a decent guy. Like, he's kind of on this oil rig to get away from the police because he assaulted someone back home in Scotland or whatever. So he's on the run and he's left his kind of wife and kids. So he's not like the best dude, and I kind of like that as a little character arc for the guy. Yes, you're on the oil rig. You're like a simple electrician, but your boss has found out how the game starts. Is your boss Rennick?
He's an expert at Leckies. I still have no idea what the fuck.
Oh, because they're all Scottish.
Yeah, might as well have been another language. For me.
You need, like I said, you need subtitles for the subtitles.
No, you need
all the subtitles were not in Scottish, but like in
dictionary definitions,
Scottish slang,
Scots Gaelic. I think it was over for half the subtitles. Going, this is not making any sense.
The Dunne and the Cana.
It was good. It was just nice because it was a different, like I said, a different vibe. But you go to Rennick, and Rennick is like giving out to you about the fact that the police are after you, and he essentially fires you on the spot and says, look, don't want you working on this rig, go home. So your whole thing is getting yourself going back to your little cabin or whatever else, and in the meantime you hear that the guys are going to continue drilling on the intercom, and someone comes out and says, I don't think this is a good idea, there seems to be a pressure issue, blah blah blah. Rennick, being the classic a-hole boss, doesn't give a shit about whatever,
don't care what it is,
he's all about that bottom line. He demands that the guys still drill. There's a big explosion. You wake up then after the kind of being knocked out, or the big explosion in the drill, and everything's kind of not everything's like changed visually, but the whole
you were knocked out. You're thrown
off the entire oil rig.
Oh, that's true.
That shit kind of drove me nuts. I was like, we just watched the guy die from the exact same thing, but like,
yeah, and then you put him head over heels, and I'm pretty sure
yeah.
landed on your back.
Yeah, and they were talking about like, because like in this game, there's Algitors, and the crew start kind of like going through some changes, and it has to do with the oil that they dug into. But you fell in the water.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You only get a little crazy. You get some weird effects on the screen. The effects on the screen. I forgot about that.
That was
and that was so when you get close to whatever the monster alien stuff is, you get this cool kind of visual, almost like cell growth stuff, kind of like microscopic cell growth stuff on your screen. The first one that really spooked me was that our first introduction to one of the crewmates, Gibbo.
Gibbo.
I was trying to. I thought it was fucking Bibbo.
Stay away from me.
Bibbo. So Gibbo was one of the first. So you know that something's not right. All the guys on the oil rig, when you kind of are rescued out of the water, are saying, "Oh, you know, stuff's not okay. We've hit something. We don't exactly know what it is." And everyone's kind of separated different parts of the rig, so no one exactly knows what's kind of happened. But when you go, I can't remember what our first mission is. It's to go and to engineering to do something. One of my gripes with the game was how often we were like engineering, administration, back to engineering, go back to administration, head to the canteen. There was a lot of
only one on the rig that could fucking do anything
was Cass, the least qualified person to be on an oil rig, you know. So yeah, there was some bits and pieces that didn't make sense, but we go and this is our first introduction to like the kind of the stuff on the screen, like that the effect was that we went down into engineering to solve an issue, and we're told that our crewmate Gibbo was not okay. Don't talk to him, Kaz. Don't go near him. Like he's kind of fucked up, and you're like, okay. And this is the great part because we didn't know how scary this game was going to be, and Chris's reaction to this part was amazing because I was walking around the thing and I could hear Gibbo, and he was shouting, and he was like, "Stay away from me," and all this kind of stuff.
I think the great thing about him as well for the rest of the game is every other person that you came across who had changed was already in full form.
Yeah,
Gibbo was going through the change
because it was the early on.
Well, yeah. We don't actually know.
Well, this is so I don't know.
Well, that's true. Yeah, we never actually saw him.
We never saw him. And my thing about the start of this game is that I'm always like I would always like to see what's going on and then I'll run type thing. But Chris, you were having none of that because when we were walking through this water tank area, kind of in the depths of the oil rig, Gibbo was there, and you could. Depending on where you were looking, that effect stuff on the screen was kind of telling you where the monster was really. And that when we first realized that, then the game gave me a new thing to learn, which was like press R3 to look behind you. And Chris, you immediately were like, "Fuck that! Get out of here! We don't want this," because it's doing this, telling this for a reason. So we never saw Gibbo because I just ran. Chris was like, "Get the fuck out of here! What are you doing?" And because you were like that, you made me real scared. And I love that playing off each other type stuff.
I don't know if you're supposed to actually see Gibbo or not. Yeah. Like I have no fucking idea.
Like I played that game. I played that game before. We'd obviously mentioned that. Oh, you use that one, so I stopped playing. I got as far as Douglas is the guy on the ladder after that scene you find. The guy, this thing is the first dead body you come across.
Oh yeah. When you go down into one tank and you have to come up the other.
Yeah. I played that. I did not see Gibbo at all in that playthrough. I don't know if you're supposed to see him.
Maybe. I mean, because the whole not seeing him was a cool factor.
I know you close the top of that behind you, but you never actually see him there. You just hear him outside pounding.
No, you don't actually close it. You're coming down and he hits it. You see something, but it moves too fast for you to see what it is. You actually get knocked down the ladder.
Oh.
And then when you get up, you look up and the thing's closed up behind you. So he hits it trying to get at you.
We were just too busy trying to get out the head of the dodge, Chris.
There was a lot of shouting going on by us.
Viewers, please email us if you ever did
see Gibbo.
If you were brave enough to turn around, hit R3, and
I think this is where the game was the most effective, and I think it's kind of the horror genre as a whole suffers from this. Is that the more you see the thing you're meant to be scared of, the less horror that's involved with that. Some of the scariest movies that I found, I thought lost by the end of the movie because they want to show you the thing. It's like, here's the thing you're meant to be scared of. And then you're like, oh, I know what it is now. And because you have that knowledge. So the whole thing about Gibbo was one of the scariest parts for me because we didn't know what was happening to the crew at this time, like what changes they were undergoing, what it was that they dug up in this oil rig out of the ocean type thing. But that Gibbo moment was pretty scary. and I enjoyed. I think 'cause I was like, because we did this thing where if you died or got to
fucking button,
if you died or like had to go into the next chapter, we always handed the controller over. And I remember handing the controller to Andrew, you or Chris, after I did that Gibbo scene, and it was this thing of like, oh, I actually haven't taken a breath in like 4 or 5 minutes. Like I need to get out off this. But in terms of you guys, kind of from that point onwards, were you still kind of hooked on the game and the story and stuff like that? I mean, it sounds like I'm being very mean to say that early, but I mean, that was at one point the scariest bit for me.
I think it was the scariest bit, but even still, I mean, I found this, while it wasn't necessarily scary, there was very nerve-wracking moments, especially I think was it Alistair? What's the...
Adair?
Yeah.
Where you had to throw things to make sound?
Yeah, I think I was doing that one, and you'd go down to turn the generator on, and then you'd go back up. And I remember legging it out of a corridor and closing the door behind me, thinking, oh, that's grand, yeah, and turned around to see him casually open the door behind me and kill me. And I shot myself at that point. I was like, shit, they can open doors!
Yeah, because I remember that bit as well. And that was one of the bits that, that bit was made scary because you ran. That was one of those stealth moments as opposed to flee moments. And I think the stealth moments where it was scary the first time, because it was the first time you saw the creatures, and they're fucking horrible looking with the tentacle things that they used to attach and move around whatever area you're in. And I was like, oh, this is horrific. But once that was done it happens 2 or 3 times afterwards. And I was like, I
think I saw, because you were playing it before I got handed over. And that is the thing, that you took a particular route through the vents you can crawl through to get to, I think, the ladder.
Just to try and hide.
Killed on the ladder. Yeah. But then once you see it once, like I repeated that thing. You were sneaking through it. I just ran through it real quick and like, okay, that was nothing. Once you see it happen once, that all the scare factor disappears from it.
I don't think I did any stealth parts.
You didn't have the controller in your hands of those. Did you know who did the one out
on
top of the rig?
I did the one with that was you.
Oh, in the fog.
You did the one on top of the rig with Mir.
So
Yeah,
the other crewmate.
I had the first time we came across was Trots.
I did Trots.
You did Trots.
Yeah, I did Trots.
I did the second time.
I turned that because I was trying to stealth, and the immediate first thing I did was just walk right into him, and then it just turned into a chase scene.
That was amazing. Was Trots the one in the laundry kitchen area?
Yeah, the crawly guy.
So, and this is what I mean. I think it's when the monsters are at their kind of your level, I guess. Do you know what I mean? Like when they're the big things crawling outside and you see them, you're like, oh, that is kind of spooky. But Trots, because that's how you see him.
Trots was scary. That was my scary.
Because you to get to where he was, you had to crawl. You were crawling through a vent and you could look down at him, and he was just in the laundry area, slamming
the door,
slamming a washing machine door closed over and over again, just shouting nonsense. And I was like, this is fucked up. You know, and he was kind of like half deformed and stuff at that stage as well.
Yeah, it's like everything from the waist up was like a normal-ish kind of thing.
And I think that's where they went a bit too ham, because each individual crewmate got transformed, and some of them had like big hands or big feet or whatever else. And the boss, Rennick, was just a massive head. And I was like, not that scary. What they did was like,
creepy. I don't know.
Well, he wasn't really a boss.
I thought he was more scary than Adair was pretty creepy, but Adair and Mir were identical.
Yes,
I thought.
that's true.
It's Adair was kind of like stuff in the rig, whereas Muir was outside the rig. That was the only real difference between them. But then
eventually Adair comes outside the rig because he's the one that you blow up with the smokestack.
Oh, he is, yeah.
That part.
And the Muir, just you never see him again.
Yeah. Which is quite good. So in terms of gameplay wise, how do you guys feel in terms of, because there was we got the classic stealth moment sections, the chase scenes that you have as well, and then even the Wikipedia gave a synopsis of like small puzzles. I don't think there was a puzzle in that game, really, to be honest.
I didn't come across a single puzzle.
Just popping open the fuse boxes, and then he does all the work, like shifting them around. Like I didn't
do anything.
I just had to click on the yellow box.
That was it. Yeah.
I genuinely don't remember a single puzzle in that game.
No, nor I. Or they were that simple.
No, there was like some points. I think what they're talking about, like small puzzles, is like there's a puddle on the ground with like open wires, like open electrical current going through it, so you couldn't walk through it. So you'd have to go find out how to turn
off the power.
Fair enough.
Or like pull the trolley, find the trolley, pull that out of the doorway.
Yeah, there was that one scene, the counterweights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there were minor, very easy to solve puzzles.
There was all the puzzles essentially.
Yeah. I think atmospherically with the game, there was a lot of back and forth, but I have to say inside outside of the oil rig. One of my favorite kind of like, this is a situation I would like. I think I laughed and joked and said like an hour into the game, I was like, if this is me, I just fucking jump off the rig.
Yeah.
I'd rather.
I'd be drinking the oily water. Just like, let's get this over
because there was
with.
a bit where we kind of came out back into the oil rig for the first time when it was getting towards the evening time, so you were losing light and it was foggy, and you could still see out into the ocean. It was like choppy waters, whatever else, and it kind of really gave you that feeling of complete isolation. And that part where I was like, "No, fuck this. This would be an awful place to be if you had to deal with a spooky situation."
Oil rig is terrifying just in itself.
Yeah,
like there's no way
I'd
ever be able to handle offshore oil.
I think I was saying to you as well. I was playing. Did you ever play Stranded Deep?
No.
So I always had this weird thing about like open water.
Is that the one where you set off in the life
raft?
Buoy?
Yeah.
Yes, you swim to the island. Yeah.
So I always had this thing about open water. I can never put a name to it.
Oh, you have thalassophobia?
Yeah, I played Stranded Deep, and it really bothered me because there's a lot of open water in it. And I only realized playing this game that I actually have thalassophobia, which is like fear of deep water.
Open
like
water.
open. And there's one point that you have control, and you look out over just an expanse, and I just went, no. Just turned right, like I'm going to look at the rig, I'm not going to look outside. It bothers me.
Because thalassophobia is a real thing, but I follow a subreddit for thalassophobia, not because I'm scared, but because I find it fascinating. Like, I remember saying to Lauren, like, I would love to be thrown into the middle of the ocean by a blue whale, kind of deep down. I'd love that shit, but I totally get why that is.
Fucking freaks the shit out of me.
I can see why.
I remember, like, years ago, I was out... I think it was in Lanzarote or somewhere. Oh, Tenerife. And I was on one of those catamarans, and I fell off it. I have never experienced such fear in my life. I was like, I had goggles on, I looked down, and it was just couldn't see shit. I was like, no. That
was another good thing that the game did that kind of scared us as well. Sometimes there was a lot of what would you call it? Quick time events that you have to press certain buttons on.
Oh, L2 to hold on.
Missed opportunity to use haptic feedback.
Big time.
Yes, very much so.
It would have been. I mean, I've never actually even experienced it, but from what I hear, it's like it increases the tension, right?
Yeah.
So trying to because you're holding on with R, and then your left arm, you have to grab on with the left trigger.
Yeah,
that kept happening. Haptic feedback there would have felt so immersive,
and as
really trying to hold on.
As the whole game went on, and your character is becoming wrecked because you get cold and you have to heat up by heaters, so it's taking a toll.
Yeah, the heater.
Yeah, which is pointless. I thought there was a save point. I had no idea what that was. We'll go into that in a second. But that would have been a great idea for haptic feedbacks, whereby it gets harder and harder to hold the buttons because you're just straining this character throughout the whole thing. So by the end, when you have to grab onto a ladder, it should have been the hardest thing to stop yourself from falling. Get loads of kind of tension back from those trigger buttons. You're right, totally missed opportunity. But I did enjoy those things where it was like the quick time events when you were kind of being chased and it was like a vault and it was do this and tap this button so you don't fall. When we missed those and you got caught, they were good. That was the good shit.
I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed that sprint down the what was it, the oil thing, the crane, they had a name for the derrick. Was that it?
The derrick. Oh yeah, I think the derrick. I don't know if that's the Scottish thing or if that's what it's actually called, but it's one of those things off an oil rig that burns off gas.
Yeah.
Sprinting back down that after things was on fire. That was great because he's screaming in your ear, you need to move, and this thing's burning behind you. That was great because it's just vault, twist, vault.
What I loved about you, because I thought you failed that section, because that's much later on in the game, and there's only, I can't remember what was that guy's name. He's the only useful dude on the
Brody.
Crew. Brody,
Finley, and Kaz are the three.
The last three at the end, yeah. And Brody's the only guy who's in any way because he does a few bits. But I love that bit where you go into the crane and Brody's like, so I need you to go out onto that derrick and go all the way and just try and turn off the gas. And he's like, well, why don't I stay here in this fucking comfy cabin office and you go out and do that? Which I thought was a very kind of realistic reaction.
The banter was really good.
And Brody was like, do you have any idea how to operate any of this? And Kaz was like, no. It's like, we'll get out into the fucking thing and go on. So I enjoyed that kind of stuff as well. The banter and stuff was good, and there was realistic-ish in terms of the interactions, but I thought there was the character, we're kind of jumping around here, I've got no sort of structure to this whatsoever, but Finley's one of the characters in it anyway, but Finley was so suspicious with the entire game that I thought Finley was kind of fucked up somehow in the head.
I think it was you were playing and there was a
cold-hearted, man.
There was a note stuck to the door and I was like, something along the lines like, Kaz is gone, but we need to finish what we started. And I genuinely figured the two of them had something to do with this whole thing. I was like, oh, they've pulled this thing out of the water for some reason because it was just so suspicious. And Finley's ones were just, no, It's like she was up to something the entire time.
Yeah. So I suppose to bring it back, to try and find some structure to this episode, because we are kind of hopping left and right. As you're going through the oil rig, trying to basically, you've no idea what's going on, but the rig itself is failing in lots of different ways because of the explosion from the drilling. So your job
in every way. That's
so,
pretty much what the main purpose of the game is.
It's just to try and stop the rig from and then while that's happening, the monsters stuff or the alien stuff or the weird oil that you've kind of drilled into is taking a greater and greater hold on the rig, and stuff is becoming weirder and weirder. And I quite enjoyed that. Like, I mean, I know it was sending us back and forth to the same places again and again, but at least the level design changed. Like, stuff got more messed up. There was more like fluff.
And towards the certain parts as well, especially when it started to get flooded, it was very subtle. I was trying to figure out, like, was it just like the rig itself was falling apart, and obviously this creature was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was very hard to tell, was the corridor warped because everything was on its side, or was the corridor warped because the creature was warping reality around the thing? Thought that was really, because I remember looking at one window in someone's thing, and it was just like these squares etching off into infinity. Yeah, the whole thing was twisted. It's like, that's not a rig problem. That's a that's psychosis. That's an
hallucination issue I'm having. So yeah, I think you're going through that. You're meeting all your crewmates, and this is where I think the game is quite strong in terms of the relationships that your character has with some of the characters on the rig. So you've got Roy.
Yeah,
Roy is his kid's
godfather. Yeah. So they're mates, and Roy, like, again, spoilers. I mean, you know, spoilers at this stage, but the Roy situation is quite good because Roy, when everything gets fucked up, you go to find Roy and find it because he's the chef on the rig, and you go to find him, and he's kind of hiding up in the pantry. He's like, I'm not going out there, man. I'm really, really scared. Also, I have diabetes, need my insulin, and I thought there was going to be a mission for us to go get the insulin. It was going to be real spooky, but you've got to go off and solve the million other issues that the rig has. And Roy's like, no, don't worry, I'll stay here. When I pluck up enough courage, I'll go out and get my insulin. And I think what the game did really well from a narrative perspective wasn't exactly the scariest bit, but you were getting updates on the characters from time to time, and there was a bit of feels in there because at one point, you know, Roy gives you a phone. There's all these phones that connect around the whole oil rig, which is a funny way
they always know where you are. Too.
Yeah,
and they're calling all every time you answer one of those phones, someone died. It's like, just stop answering the phones, Kaz. They'll stop dying if you don't answer the phone.
But that was a cool little bit because there was the characters that needed your help doing X, Y, and Z, and you could hear them getting into trouble and stuff like that. But I thought there was the poignant moments with Roy, for example, being like, I'm getting real weak. I really need to go get my insulin, but I'm just too scared to go do it. And like Kaz, like, you got to go out, man. Like, you got to go out and get that stuff. Like, you're going to die otherwise. And he's like, yeah. And we all kind of said after that phone call, we were like, that's the last time we're going to hear from Roy. You had that feeling. Yeah. And that was quite cool because later on you find him and he's in the place where he could have gotten his insulin, but just died before he got it, which I thought was quite like with everything that was happening. I was like, there's an interesting death in it. Like, he wasn't completely taken over by a monster or killed really violently. He was just too scared to go and do what he needed to do to save his own life and died for that. And I was like, that's pretty cool as a narrative kind of piece to put on it. And I thought the phone call that you had at the end with Brody, who's the really useful guy, the rig is really, really sinking, and Brody's gone down to release pressure in one of the rig things, and knew likely he'd be trapped in there if he couldn't get out quick enough. So you go back and find out that he has been trapped, and Finley's on the phone to him, and she's real upset, and she's like, oh.
The way she handled the phone off to you as well was really well done. Like, she just doesn't even look up, she just hands the phone over her shoulder to you.
And I thought she was fucked. I thought she was fucked in the head, and I was like, who's she talking to? Why is she being real weird? But it was only because Brody gets on the other end and he's like, I'm cooked, I can't get out of here, I'm dead, I wish you the best of luck, like, I hope we've done everything we can to save the rig. And those moments were quite cool. It was like, if this was a movie, I'd be quite into these characters. Yeah, which is, I think, where it was real strong. Where it wasn't strong was how it ended. And
oh my god,
I think we all from nearly even the start, we all knew he was like, you're not getting off the rig. There's no, you're in the as soon as
I'm fine with the idea of him, like, I mean, it's an oil rig.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you've got
set that shit on fire. I'm fine with that. It's just the weird pre-credit scene at the end where he's kind of like walking through that haze, and it's just like he's having the flashbacks, and he's like, "Oh, I love you," whatever his wife is, and it's like, "Oh, great, happy ending." No, he died.
And that's the thing as well. I think because they kind of pushed it to. It was like trying to be, like I said, they did the job well with the little interactions you had with the likes of your best mate Roy and this kind of real helpful crewmate Brody, and they were kind of real honest interactions. But then they kind of forced this thing down your throat at the end to be like, but he really loved his wife, even though he was a bit of a shithead, and
Yeah.
he wanted to do more for his
Yeah,
kid,
so-
and that went on for so long that I was like, that's not. I mean, this is okay, but it's not what I'm here. And like, I just wanted a credit roll. Like, we've been playing this for 4.5 hours.
What was it? Because I like the whole thing about how like you're trying to get back to save your marriage because Suze was threatening a divorce at the start or something like that.
Yeah.
But then at the very end of it, when you're like going across the water, she's all happy and talking. Oh, we didn't mean any of that, and we still love you, and we just can't wait for you to get home.
I think that's
It's like,
the idea
aw.
that is heaven, right? Isn't that just because he's dead now? I thought that was just him in heaven.
I thought that was like another letter or something she'd sent, and
Yeah. So I to me, I took
No,
that.
I think that's just his dying wish. I thought that, and
So-
that's why
That's
I thought it
actually
was
a good take on
corny
it,
as
yeah.
fuck.
But this is why I think it, in some ways it's good that it's kind of not super obvious. The way I took that was that he was like, oh, I kind of fucked up and I fucked everything up. And the way he's talking to Roy and so that is like, oh, Suze doesn't love me, whatever else. I'm fucked here. And Roy's like, no, she loves you, man. Like, it's going to be okay. But like your character doesn't believe that. And I kind of took that as a letter she had sent that he never got, like sent it while, after the rig had been fucked up and he never got to read it.
that was my take on it.
Yeah,
as well,
that there was a
Okay.
regret there, like possibly. But again, I'm playing a scary game to get screwed, and there was a lot of that kind of stuff at the end where I was like, this ending's going on for too long. So what basically happens towards the end of the game is that it's only you, Brody, and Finley left. The rest of the crew are either monsters or you've killed them or they've just died in the water, whatever it might be, and you need to like destroy the monster. Finley convinces you to be like, she wants to destroy it herself, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah,
like,
the crew monsters are gone, but like the
alien monster.
whatever they dug up is still kind of like engulfing and like swallowing the rig.
Yeah. And Finney's like, we're not getting off this. We can't let this touch land. Look what it did to all the crew members here. Everyone got fucked up. And she wants to destroy it. She gets crushed on the way to destroy it. And she's like, dude.
Just so randomly.
Yeah. And it's like, no, dude, you have to go do it. And it was one of those things that I could see coming from a mile away. And I would have loved that you just like click the lighter, you blow it up, and you get to see a thing of the oil rig blowing up. And then maybe Suze reads out that letter, and then it ends there. But you go back to like the bedroom.
To the bedroom and you
When-
walk
with
that
out.
as well,
and
that
you're
was
on
just
the
so-
wall.
to have a little
strange,
chat
like-
with Suze. And I don't know if that was like him moving on to heaven or whatever it might have been, but it was too much because it was like,
Because I think I did. Didn't I do the end part?
You
and
did.
like
Yeah.
You were like-
you had that one. You're just kind of like slowly and awkwardly walking towards that light. I just handed off the controller and started backing up. I was like, I'm done.
yeah.
Like,
Because I mean, the game was finished like
Yeah.
10, 15 minutes before that, really. Like,
I'm still trying to figure out what happened to us in the light as well. Did we get turned around or
Oh, and that
That-
one part where you end up,
you ended up blind and we thought we were
it
following
reminded
the
me of Andrew. You might remember this in terms of where like bad game design, essentially,
Yeah.
where like I know what they're trying to do, but it's not been executed well. If we can get turned around like that and fuck up, because it was like that scene was probably meant to be a lot quicker, but we got because the screen's just bright white, you can't see.
Yeah, you
anything,
can't see
but
it, that's the thing.
You're moving, you can see your feet, and you know you're moving, but like we didn't know where to when we died. Like
It kept bouncing us off a wall or something. As
and it reminded me of like bad game design. Do you remember when
no, the only indicator you had. Oh, sorry, I keep moving way away from the mic. The only indicator you had of like which direction you're facing in, or if something's close, was that weird like cell effect.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
the outskirts.
But we didn't know if we were meant to be going towards
Towards
that,
it and
away from it.
Because the entire game has you going away from it.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
I
like,
guess this was
going
like maybe
towards
towards us.
Yeah, but I mean, we were also intentionally going into this monster.
So we
Yeah.
assumed
So,
towards
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
But we got to get over it. It reminded me of, do you remember that old PlayStation 1 Men in Black game?
Like, you know, I
that
knew you were going to
rented
say
and
that.
never
As
finished it?
soon as you said, I knew
Because
you
the
were going to say.
design in the first level was like how to navigate out of, and it was kind of like third person ish, top down, like a kind of a geometric angle or whatever else. But figuring out your way around the level that you were looking at was impossible. Like we rented that out for 2 nights and didn't get past the
Now,
first.
Were you there when we finally figured out what the problem was?
Oh, that the darkness with the brightness of
We
the
just turned the
screen
TV
was,
brightness up and all of a sudden you could see everything kind of thing. But the standard darkness for that game
was impossible.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Like you had that thing where you turn the brightness up to 100, so everything has this kind of grey hue on it.
Yeah.
It's so bright. That was the only way. But that's that's bad design. And the
Yeah.
moment we were doing that, I got a flashback to like, yeah, this shouldn't be this difficult to do this part in the game. Monster wise, did you guys find the creature itself or how it was turning the crew members horror wise? How did that sit with you guys? Was that a good creature?
I really liked it because like
Cronenberging the crew.
There's a movie. It's H.P. Lovecraft movie. It's called Color Out of Space. It's got Nicolas Cage in it.
That's
Just
of
going,
course it does.
Going pure like
Pure Nick Cage.
Yeah, Lovecraftian horror crazy. Great fucking fit for him. But yeah, it gave me a lot of vibes of shit you'd see in that, like weird fleshy amalgamations of like people, like just getting kind of mushed together. And my biggest gripe was the big threats, the mirror and
the Adair
looked identical. They were just weird, like sky testicles.
Because what the thing
that was like just like
that's not far from the truth.
I think it's the way the creature seems to be changing everyone and morphing everyone. And like you saw some of the stuff, the hands sticking out, the legs sticking out, everyone going in weird ways. And then, as you say, for those two to be near on identical.
I thought, as you said, I thought the stationary ones that you could look at were far more disturbing than the ones that were
moving about.
Around.
The one there was that one guy at the end too. Actually, forgot about him. Roger.
Sitting in the seat,
with
a key.
That
was going to be my next point. Roper.
Roper.
And Andrew, you were in control of the thing. At this point. This scene was great because I knew something was going to happen, and when we thought it had passed, it still got us. It was that classic horror being like, "No, you're fine. You're totally fine.
Grand. Just go out and do the."
So what was this? You had to go and
so you had to take the key off him. So the idea was you had to set the ballast first, and you had to go back in, and then you had to, I think, flood one of
these puzzles, quote unquote, of the game.
And you go back in and you're on the phone to Finley and you're saying, "Yeah, no, that's grand, that's done. Get out of there, kind of grand." Yeah,
but just as a point, when you've gone into that room to answer the phone for Finley to talk you through what you need to do in this operating room, there is one of the crew members who's still managing to speak, who's been totally Cronenberged, and he's like attached and stuck to the command seat. There's an extra hand grown out of him, and he's got those weird tentacle things kind of stuck to the wall, and he's looking at you. And what's amazing is when you walk into the room, his head follows you and doesn't say anything, but he's like watching you as you walk into the room. And I was like, this guy's gonna fuck us up at some point.
No, he's saying stuff. He's saying
keep Rennick away from me.
Keep Rennick away from me.
And Rennick's the boss. Yes, he was like, Rennick's like the big threat or whatever. Just keep Rennick away.
I would have, you know what? Disappointed because I thought we were going to see Rennick like eat him or something, and I thought that would have been really.
I think the thing that threw me is that just before the moment that got me, he's there saying, "Rennick, he's coming, Rennick's coming. Keep him away from me." I was like, "Okay, right, you need to get out of here fast." The second I walked through that fucking door, you sent out those tentacles out of nowhere, and it's the little whiplash noise it made shot me out of my fucking skin.
Yeah, it was so funny because you have to reach over to him because like Finley's on the phone to you being like, "You need a key to blah blah blah," and then Cassie, you're playing, I was just like, "Oh, I think I see the key. It's in fucking
his third hand,
third hand." And so you go over to get the key thing, and this is the bit where you're going to get the scare, but you get the key.
He's just staring.
I was like, he's just watching you, and I knew, being like, "Oh, when is the scare coming?" And you were like, "Sweet, got the key. Oh, Rennick's coming. I better leave." And then it fucking gets you, and you jumped so high. It was
the thing is, like, it wasn't even like walking to the door. It's just as you think you're past the threshold of the door and everything's fine, that's when it went out and got you, and it just nope, you fucker.
And it's those moments that I think it needed a bit more of.
I don't know. I mean, I like the fact that they were as spread out as they were, because otherwise you start to expect them.
That's true, actually. The fact that was the only one of its kind scare.
No, it got you with that one. I think you're going up the stairs after you met the guy who hadn't been fully turned yet. Remember the shit star?
And that guy.
But when
was
that came out of his stomach, you got caught, and then you're going up the stairs. It just shot at you again and nabbed you. I think that one kind of got you a little bit.
Yeah, that did scare me as well. Yeah, the little whip tentacle things they had.
There was another one where like you just walk through a hallway, and it just like. It's not one of the crew members. It's the actual like entity or whatever that's swallowing the rig, but it just like bursts through the wall.
Oh, it tears up the floor. Yeah. Oh, that was...
It was so quick, too. It almost looked like it just like teleported there. It was fucked.
There was another great moment where, and I can't remember which character it was. Oh, it was, what's his name? Begins with T. The guy, scary dude. Yeah, we came back around to the administration part much later on in the game, and the boat's completely fucked up, and you drop down into a cabin from a vent, having tried to use the vents to get away from him. And the funny thing was, I did this the wrong way because it was me in charge of the controller at the time. And you drop down into a cabin, and there's a crack in the door is completely splintered, so you can see out. And he runs by the door immediately when you're there.
Up, yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck, I need to get out of here because I thought he was trying to get in. So I opened the door and immediately tried to run. But it's kind of a thing where you're meant to wait because he goes by you, which is the scary part, but then disappears off to the end of the corridor. I didn't do that and was like, oh, fuck, I'm out of here. So I immediately left the door. He spotted me. And then you were like, there's a locker, hide in the locker. And I hid in the locker. But it was like...
He was watching you hide in the locker.
Yeah, he was watching me hide in the locker. And sorry, we didn't even touch on that. So we didn't really use them that much. But there were lockers and little cabinets that you could hide. And much like Alien Isolation, it had that kind of like... hide here for a moment type thing, but it didn't make enough use of that.
Do you notice that as well? I noticed that because there's the hide in lockers, there was a lot of the paint cans and stuff you could throw on the ground. They were put in places where nothing ever happened. There's a lot of points where they were put in to make you think something was going to happen there because there's a locker to hide in. But nothing ever happened to them.
There was also that really obvious one. Do you remember I was running into?
I think that's just because
they're trying to
eventually you come back to those areas, but they don't look anything like the area
previously because it's all fucked up by the monster.
Yeah. No, you're right. There's definitely a lot of lockers that were just pointless.
But then there was that. So there was the time where you fought. What's his name? It's not Trust. What's it called? Is it Trust?
Trust the Crowley guy.
Yeah. So that was funny.
I was going for the locker.
The laundry.
He's like, "What's up, bitch?"
No, because that bit was so good because when you walked around the laundry thing initially, there's like obviously like you can hide here and wait for him to pass and go there and wait for him to pass. But the moment he spotted you for the first time, you just hightailed it and fucking ran. You were like, I'm not hiding anywhere. I'm just going. And you got out by the skin of your teeth. So I think the moments that we were meant to use the lockers, we just fucking got too scared and just like.
I love that as well because you got out of the laundry room and you went up a flight of stairs and you could hear him and like the shit on the screen was completely U-shaped on the bottom of the screen. You were belting up those stairs as fast as life could get you up there, and it was like we were all just going fuck run.
It was pretty tense, man.
It was great.
Because I thought I heard like the moment you had to start sneaking around them, I immediately got spotted, and I was like, "Oh well, I'm not surviving this, but I fucking try."
Yeah.
But I like that in the game as well. It doesn't force you to sneak. You can apparently just sprint past the fuckers. But I mean,
yeah, and I did that another time. I don't know if it was against that because that guy chases you later. But there's also Rennick moments, and like all you have to do is take a single wrong turn.
Oh, you're gone.
You're
Yeah,
fucked.
Yeah, and it is like
because there's that one where like I thought it was fucked too. I think it was Rennick, and I was like in this corner. I was like, I'm sure this was the only direction to go, and you could see Rennick kind of like waddling his little head or his huge head like towards me, getting into the room, and then the indicator popped up on my screen that said like squeeze, where you had to like squeeze in between the shelves or whatever. I was like, I fucking knew you had to come in here.
Yeah, and like those moments were quite good to put you in a situation where all of a sudden you lose control and have you gotten far enough ahead so this thing doesn't fuck you up when you're trying to essentially that loading bit to get in. You know, those bits are really, really good.
And we eventually did start using the R3 to turn around and see the guy, and that was
towards the end of the game. It was great because you were using it on that Derek thing for the gas thing
for Adair when he was going
when you had to run away from Adair. That bit was cool because I was like, oh, look behind, and seeing him because you had to go through certain bits, but he was too big, so he was scaling this kind of crane on the outside. Very spooky. Yeah.
And there's one thing I noticed from the very start of the game, which was fast. You, Chris, you started jumping to see if you could clip through certain parts of the thing. Which you,
I tried to break games.
you clipped over. So there's one part you get to, and this is what I thought was fantastic. You clipped over a huge story piece because as I played the very first part of the game. Do you know where you jumped across and you're trying to get across the metal poles?
Yeah.
If you go up there, you actually talk to Roper, who's the drill guy. And he tells you they've been drilling down, they've hit something, there's some weird kind of abscess.
So I did it.
You missed out on a whole... I was sitting there going...
Because that was another thing, is like we'd never... Because in the canteen, you meet everyone. I was like, Roper. I was just like, I've never seen this guy before. Like, who the fuck is Roper?
He's up there and he's saying like there's an abscess in the thing, there's like an air pocket or something, the drill won't drill through it. Rennick's been on my arse for kind of, And then you just got to it, just hopped over the fence and kept on going. I was like, you can skip the entire story.
I'm impressed, Chris. I'm impressed.
But I love how that continued on there when you got up to was it Raph was in the thing and you just kept walking right off the edge of the derrick.
Yeah, it is impressive actually. How the fact that you would actually go and explore that, because that's not my mentality with video games at all. I'm just like, oh, that's an obvious staircase, I better go up that staircase. Yes sir, no sir. I thought there was a few
I love sequence breaks. I just didn't realize I wonder how many times I've done that in games.
And not realized that you've actually missed out on some stuff. Yeah. Sure, I think coming across Roper as this non-entity was scary enough anyway. It was really... one of the things, I think the game had some missed opportunities for spooks, and one of them was when the drill explosion initially happens, you come across one of the guys bringing up like a small sub thing from the water, and one of the crewmates is in the sub thing, and he's like been depressurized too quickly. He's screaming in pain. He's the first kind of person you come across to be like, something's not okay, like he's not okay
that
in
was,
there, like,
I think, Brody bringing Raph up. And
Raph
they're the two you have a conversation with in the thing where you're you turn out Kaz isn't really a nice person.
Yeah, but I was like, what's going on in that fucking sub thing? And then Brian's like, I'm going to do my best to save him, whatever else. And you do not come across that thing right until the end of the game, and you can see it out on the oil rig when everything's kind of fucked up.
He's like burst out.
And he's burst out, but like stuck in it. He's kind of like half Cronenberg, half whatever else. But I was like, there's a moment for like, give us an opportunity to go and explore it and to look in the window and for something to like fucking jump out of us, and we've got to go and escape this thing. Like as a moment, I was like, that would have been, because I would have, if I had seen that's what they were making me do, immediately I would have had my backup. I'm like, I don't want to go look at that thing.
No, I'm not
like I saw him screaming at the start of the game. I don't want to go look at that thing. But they kind of, for me, that was like a missed opportunity for a good scare. At a point in the game where I think we'd been doing a lot of just kind of back and forth exploration without.
We were at the point of the game where they're really trying to phone it in, I think.
Yeah. This, as well, I thought as well, considering how many people were on the rig, I mean, it was only Trotz, Adair, Muir, Rennick. Was there anyone else?
There was a couple Irish. There's O'Connor.
No. I mean, like for who turned into actual creatures.
Gibbo.
O'Connor.
Oh, Gibbo. Well,
the O'Connor.
Did he?
The O'Connor guy was the one that grabbed you when you were going up those
to the
stairs.
wall. Yeah,
I don't know if it was
Oh
O'Connor.
yeah. Okay, fair enough.
So I mean, a couple of them, yeah, for sure. And the rest of them, like you kind of see them as like dead or already morphed, like they didn't survive the change, whatever it might have been. The one thing one other point I want to bring up, which I thought was quite a scary way. I think it's always been scary in games for me. I think back to like Metal Gear Solid 2, where you've got to save Emma on the oil rig, and it's like a water thing where you got to go in and find the air pockets to make sure that she doesn't drown and you don't drown. There was those moments towards the end where the rig is sinking and you're doing your best to stop it from sinking, but you get caught in all these situations where the room that you're in is flooding and you're trapped in the water and you're holding your breath and you've got to swim out as best you can. Those bits were intense. And I thought, like, it wasn't like a jump scare, but I was like, fuck, swim, get out of here. Like, and that was really kind of high octane stuff that I thought was really well done.
It's weird.
I remember. Sorry, go ahead.
There's not even doing that one. I think we'd all took a couple of turns at it because we couldn't figure out where the path was to follow. It wasn't like, I'm glad it wasn't really all that well laid out kind of thing. But even that, I mean, like, it was nerve wracking, but still, like, looking out over the water got me more than that did. And
Wow.
That's what got me for the game.
Yeah, thalassophobia is real, because in those situations, I think a room filling up with very little escape opportunities, that's scarier to me than being dropped out in the ocean.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's like,
because I might survive being dropped out in the ocean. I won't survive a room filling with water with no escape.
The problem was, too, because the water was super murky. I remember there was one point, I don't know which one else it was, but we fucked up a jump. We landed in the water, but like you fell really, really deep, and it was so murky that we didn't know which way was up.
That was you, and you
was
were,
that me?
You were going up the shaft, and the water was rising from the bottom, and you jumped across, missed the ladder thing to grab on.
Yeah,
assumed you were dead because the screen went black, and then it turned out you were still swimming, and as you were swimming back up, the water was rising with you. So like you couldn't tell.
But I didn't know if I was actually going up or further down.
Which credit to the developers of the game, because I think that's a very impressive thing, because that's obviously the feelings you'd have in that moment, that if you drop into murky water, which way is up? I'm so disorientated, and I think they captured that quite well.
No, if that was you in person, like gravity's telling you which way is up, right?
But if you just fall into the water that's completely dark and you're like spinning around and like you've just fallen, like it's going to take you a moment to be like, which way do I go in that?
Maybe a moment, but I don't think it'd be possible. You'd
actually be surprised. We had this thing, it was a lifesaver or something I think it was doing, and it is the case, if you get dropped into water and it's dark, the only way you can tell what way is up is your bubbles. If you can't see bubbles, you don't know what way is up. If you can't see the top of the water with the reflection light, you will swim down thinking down is the right way to go.
Okay.
It's only the fact that you see what way the bubbles go is what way you actually orientate yourself.
Okay.
It's very fucking off-putting.
But I enjoyed it.
All right.
I enjoyed how the game did that, because I thought in those moments where you were swimming and I was like getting angry about like, I don't know which way to go next. But it wasn't angry at like the game's stupid design. It was just me under pressure, which is like a good way to make me feel in a horror thriller type game.
Yeah, and there's some parts where you had to grab the yellow bars on the bottom of the water and like kind of
the dash thing,
and it was
janky.
It was janky.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not the only one that.
No, we all struggled with that one.
Okay.
I think there were moments, like I think the game, in terms of its gameplay, how well executed that stuff was, I wouldn't say was perfect. I think graphically, for what it was trying to be, was very impressive. But I think I got lost, taken out of it sometimes, being like, why doesn't pressing X hold on to this thing that I'm meant to be? That part was like legitimately frustrating, not a thing the game was trying to do to make me be scared or pressured.
There is one last thing I will say that I loved. How many attempts did it take the three of us to jump across a gap and grab onto a ladder?
Too many. In fact, that's another problem I had with the game getting kind of samey. Is just like, okay, that was tense when like you jump across and you like just barely get the railing or the platform, and you have to pull yourself up. And I was like, well, that was pretty intense, but it just kept happening.
I just remember the one ladder that we were outside the rig. We're trying to jump across back towards the rig and it was ladder, and I missed it by undershooting it. You missed it twice by going to the side of it.
You missed it by the side.
I was so one of us.
I was the one that could never hit the second button.
Oh, that
you could grab it, would always fall.
But we missed that ladder. I think we passed it around. Each of us had about 2 goes, and it was the last person to grab it. I think you got it in the end.
I know. I was lucky because I was the last person to go, so I'd seen the failed attempts prior, so I knew exactly what was coming. So I was in a good position. But yeah, sometimes it was just like, I mean, there's a jankiness to it.
There is a jankiness.
I don't think the game is kind of from a gameplay perspective, if it's put in place perfectly.
I also didn't realize that, like, because I thought it was supposed to be letting go of the right button and then grabbing with the left button. I didn't realize.
I did the same myself.
I would love to see a map of the actual rig and the route that you constantly take, because there's so much going back on yourself that, like,
I imagine there's a massive squiggle in the center.
Yeah, I'd say it'd be quite funny because as well, like, you have those things where like the helicopter crashes and you've got to use the helicopter to climb to the next part of the rig and all those kind of things. And I'd love to watch it as kind of like in fast forward, just from an outside. Yeah, exactly, because I think there's a lot of going back, and I get what they're trying to do in terms of like the rig is evolving the entire time as well, not only with the entity that's taking it over, but with the fact that it's failing and falling into the sea. But part of it was I was like,
I bet you it wouldn't work. I bet you the maps, because every time you go outside or inside, it's a loading screen, right?
Yeah.
So the world isn't persisting. So I'm betting it's all entirely new assets and shit like that. It's an entirely new map.
Yeah, it did feel like that, in fairness. I think that's probably enough for our review, fellas. I think anyone got any top level things to finish it off? Would you ever play it again, Chris?
Play it again? No. The only reason I play it again is if I had owned it and I wanted to like get the last bit of achievements that we missed. Because I'm a bit of a sucker for that, but I've played it now and I haven't bought it, so I have no obligation to do so.
Well, apparently on the one playthrough we had, we only missed 2 trophies. So,
that's a pretty good go.
Yeah.
We probably need to talk to Roper, Chris, if you hadn't clicked
one of them is a hidden one, so I don't know what it is, and the other one is you have to fall into the ocean in 5 different spots around the rig, which I thought we did.
I thought we got that one, yeah.
But that's it.
Andrew, your final thoughts on the game?
Like that. Wouldn't play it again. I think we literally did everything apparently from jump diving into the water kind of thing. But I will say one thing I missed out on saying, I really enjoyed the music. It was very atmospheric. The kind of violin-y kind of stuff that was playing throughout the thing I thought was very cool.
Yeah. I don't even remember it. But, that's usually, to me, a hallmark of a good soundtrack. If it, like, it's weird to describe.
I know what you mean.
It's blended in such a way that you don't even...
It either stands out so much that it's like an interstellar soundtrack, or it blends in so well that you don't even realize it's there. It's the ones you kind of half keep hearing over, not like... But
I love those kind of horror things that people do with music, like to create tension. Because, you brought up Interstellar, but when on that planet, there's a whole thing that every tick is a year passing on Earth because of the way the time difference. So it creates an element of like, oh my God, hurry the fuck up, you're losing so much time by being here. Yeah. Whereas this one had, like, as you said, the violin kind of playing in the background, and then there's also in certain games where it just has like a hum or a noise, and I remember reading that that's all to do with like your brain being like, something's not okay, like I'm still in survival mode. It's like a certain noise, whatever, and I think this had a little bit of that in it as well sometimes, where it was like just kind of underneath everything, but enough to be like, no, I'm not safe, like there's nothing okay about this.
Back rooms are notorious. Like there's one level that it's just a constant buzzing, and it's there to fuck you up.
I approve.
For myself, I think it's definitely, if people are into like spooky games this time of the year as well, to be like, hey, Halloween's coming up, I want to get scared. I think especially if you were on your own with a pair of headphones, you're going to get a few jump scares. We had a good laugh with the 3 of us playing it. We still got scared, but I think if I was on my own playing through it, I'd be like, yep, that's pretty spooky. It's a one and done. I wouldn't touch it again, and I honestly don't think it's worth the price. It's going to sound harsh, but I don't think it's worth the price point that it's at. But if it was
especially when you could just grab Alien Isolation, which is just
a far superior.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like those survival bits that you do or stealth bits that you do in with the lockers and everything like that in Still Wakes the Deep are kind of like not successful carbon copies of what Alien Isolation's been doing for the past couple of years.
They're very missed opportunities as well, because we used it twice. Yeah,
it doesn't force you into using them in the way that Alien Isolation absolutely is. Like, if you do not use this, you're a goner type thing. So I think like I said, I think it's a decent horror game. 7 out of 10 as a video game goes. I'd probably have it around the 6 out of 10 mark overall. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Myself, Andrew, and Chris are going to hop on for a quick post show where we're going to do a battle royale. We've still got some of the characters there. Mayhaps, Chris, that you're here, we might do a Shaq Fu.
I'll do Shaq Fu. Fuck, man. Can it at least be a dunking competition to give him a fucking hope, Shaq or whatever? So yeah, if you're interested to see who Shaq might be going up against in our Gift of Gaming Battle Royale, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/thegiftofgaming. And Andrew, thank you so much for hopping on. Chris, thank you so much for hopping on. And to our listeners, as always and forever, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.